I would like to thank the Oscars for not putting Sonic 3 next to the other visual abortions that Hollywood is creating lately. Like, you did us a huge service. This is actually the nomination. This is how I know that a movie is actually great if it's not included in the Oscars. I'm not kidding. It's the same with books nowadays. My wife wanted to start reading, and if you see that something is New York Times bestseller or it's nominated by the New York Times, just don't fucking touch it. It's radioactive. You should treat it the same way that a geek was treated by women in the 90s. It was like radioactive to pussy. Just don't fucking touch it. It's cancerous. It's bad. And if you use this mindset, I will actually save you money. Like, you'll realize, oh wow, V. Like, if we actually don't watch movies that are nominated by the Oscars, or we don't read books that are New York Times bestsellers, we actually get enjoyment. We actually get entertainment. I mean, sure, it's not 100% of the time. Like, don't get me wrong. But if something is in a bookstore and it's not a New York Times bestseller, chances are it's actually a better book than something that is a New York Times bestseller. And so, I want you to understand why I even called modern Hollywood movies to be absolute visual abortions. Well, number one, they're supported by the Democrats and they love abortion, so there you go. But the second reason, and this one is even more interesting, can you guys name me a couple of Hollywood celebrities that aren't in the geriatric squad? Like, I don't want you to go like, oh, Keanu Reeves. No, like someone that's young, you know, like someone that is a person in their prime and would be able to star in an action movie. Because I remember I mean, even here with Sonic, you got Jim Carrey, and he's like, what, 95, 110? Like how old is he? America just doesn't have talent anymore because, like, no one is interested. They made that movie Borderlands, which, again, it's an action movie. It's got explosions. It's got a lot of cool shit going. And they put grandmas to star in an action movie. Like, I'm not saying that actors can't be grandmas. I mean, sure, you know, you can have, like, an old teacher, a mentor, something that makes sense. That not a woman that's, like, running away and there's guns and fire and explosions behind her, because that's fucking elderly abuse. And the reason for it is that America genuinely cannot produce entertainment anymore. And this makes me incredibly sad. It makes me incredibly sad because, as those of you know, I grew up with the 90s, and there were a lot of Hollywood actors that I loved. Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jackie Chan. Like, I could name a lot of them. And it was to the point where you'd go see a movie just because the actor was there. Now, I don't even know the fucking actors, and I guarantee to you that my generation actually knows VTubers, because this is why Gargura was singing at a baseball stadium, rather than having a Hollywood actor. And so one of the reasons on why Hollywood is utter shit is the Oscars. Because a lot of people genuinely think that this is a prize. No, like, if you actually are in the Oscars, if you actually get nominated, I'm not even going to watch. I'm not, like, my time is important. Sure, maybe I miss a good movie or so. Fine, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, again, I am really good at stereotyping. Like, if stereotyping is wrong, why am I always so fucking right? So if something is nominated by the Oscars, it means that it's so goddamn shit that it actually got nominated. Let me tell you what I think about the Oscars, right? You don't believe me? You think I'm talking out of my ass? Do this thought experiment. Go on Wikipedia. I know Wikipedia, right? Go there. And look at the movies that got the Oscar Best Picture awards. Because the reason you need to go on Wikipedia is that there's like a really nice table. It's a really nice list. And it goes in chronological order. And you will see that the movies that got the Best Picture award before 2010, you have like very famous titles such as Lord of the Rings, Forrest Gump, Titanic. And so when you think about it, these are movies that, despite the fact that they were made decades ago, you can download them now, and you can watch them now, and they are just as entertaining as they used to be back then. In fact, recently I watched Lord of the Rings with my wife, and it's still an amazing movie. Despite the fact that, technology has advanced and we have better special effects now and all of that, it's still an amazing film because it actually did win a Best Picture award. And so I watched it then to go at the Best Picture awards after 2020, or hell, even after 2016, and tell me if you actually know any of those movies. You don't know the names, you don't give a shit, and even if you did, and you actually downloaded it, it would probably still suck. Because that's the reality of where Hollywood is at. So, how did we get here? How did we get to this point? Well, the reason why Sonic 3 isn't included is the exact reason why they can't make entertainment. The reason Sonic didn't get it is because it's not diverse enough. So they're not even going to consider it. So how did this happen? Well, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2018, I may be wrong, but it was give or take that time, some chuckleheads on Twitter decided that the Oscars are too white. For some reason, they walked past Bollywood. They didn't notice that Bollywood is too Hindi. They didn't notice that China is too Han. They didn't notice that Japan is too Japanese. No, their focus, their laser focus was Hollywood is too white. I don't know what that means. Maybe they were anti-Semitic and they were it's too Jewish. You gotta be careful when you dabble with the identity politics. See, this is why some people get a university degree, because identity politics is very heretical. You can easily get into the trap, and you can ask the wrong questions, and then you get canceled. You lose your job. So you don't say too Jewish, you say too white, right? What is acceptable, one gets you fired. You gotta be very careful with that shit. But basically, they said it's too white. Why? Because a lot of black people aren't winning. Now, they never said okay, this black person we believe should have won. And when you actually look at the number of black people that won, it was very close to 13%, which is actually the same number of the population of black people in the United States. But you wouldn't know this by watching Hollywood. Seriously, I'm saying this without joking. I'm not exaggerating for the purpose of this video or anything, but before talking with Americans, just by watching Hollywood, I found that black people in the United States are close to 50%. Because my only experience with America was through Hollywood movies. And I was well, it's 50%, they're making such a huge deal out of it, right? And then you find out it's 13, and I was what? No, it can't be. And I actually had to look it up. And it turns out that was also the number of people that won the Oscars, but apparently it was considered to be too white. Whatever the fuck that means. And so they got one of the people that was a member of the jury, and he was a very old actor, very prestigious, a lot of experience. I forgot the name of the guy, but I remember the articles because I covered it back then. And they fired him to make room for the diversity. Again, it was just mind-blowing, It's why are you treating this guy unfairly? He did absolutely nothing wrong, but he had to make new room for the people that will push us forward into the multilateral developed society of socialist America entertainment. And so, after that, the Oscars went complete ideological. And they're forcing people to make movies that are built around diversity. If you want to compete, you gotta have the diversity. And they're treating art like an assembly line. It's like a factory. And these are the ingredients. And you must have the ingredients correctly in order to create the soup or whatever. But unfortunately, this is not how art works. Art works with someone coming up with a vision. And, if you have a South Korean guy that comes up with a vision about South Korea, and in order to cause immersion, everyone is South Korean, it should be nominated for the Oscars, which I think a Norwegian person actually talked about a similar event. I don't know if it was the Oscar, but another prize like that. And they pointed out how the movie Parasite, which is basically the same thing. It's only Koreans there. It's that's extremely diverse. That is a rich, vibrant diversity. But apparently his movie, which was about a Nordic European country in 1700, and it was filled with white people, that's bigoted, that's racist. And so it's insulting as well because a lot of the activists say white people have no culture, but like we're also not allowed to have a culture because like I understand. Okay, well if my ancestors were so fucking incapable and too dumb to create a culture, maybe my generation can do it. You know, like up until now, everyone like throughout thousands of years, all of our ancestors that were Caucasian were absolute shit at creating culture. We did nothing. We just exist here. Maybe we were good at warfare. We conquered some people. I think that's why. But I don't know, like, what type of culture you can have if, like, don't you need a culture to create weapons and do the warfare? I don't know. But apparently, like, no one did anything, right? Like, there is no such thing. It's like, what is white culture? No one can define it. And I was like, well, maybe our generation can do it. No, you can't. You need to have diversity. Okay. And so, the focus now is on the diversity rather than the entertainment. Because if you want to make a movie and you gotta, you know, have like everyone, excellent movie, excellent, perfect, wow, what a masterpiece, piece de resistance. You either go to China and you actually make a fucking entertaining movie, which is mind-blowing, like the fucking communists can actually, like now they're making video games where they're focusing on entertaining and they're going to BTFO Hollywood. Or you can go to Japan or South Korea or any Asian country where they actually allow you more freedom than in the fucking West. I mean, even Sonic, right? It's still an Asian product. It's Sega, right? Like, anyway. Or you gotta be in America and you gotta cater to literally anything besides entertainment. Like, well, but like, what is the genetical makeup of the actors? You know, like just so you can understand how brain rot American entertainment is. I don't know if they reported on this, but if you Google it, you will find some articles. When Disney made Aladdin, they were really concerned. It's like, oh, but can we find a person of Persian descent or someone that looks Middle Eastern? It's very important. Like, all of a sudden, it matters, right? Like, for The Little Mermaid, it doesn't matter. But like, now it's crucial. It's paramount that we find someone that looks like from the Middle East. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, go get him. I mean, you have people that are hired to do that job. And they got an actor to play Aladdin. He was actually really good. But then they got the person to play Jasmine. And Jasmine was like half Indian, half British. And the people on Twitter sparked out like a bunch of animals, going like, ah! And it's like, why are they upset? She doesn't have the genetical makeup of an Agrabah princess. Right. You know, they keep making fun of right-wingers for being dumb or uneducated or whatever. But when the left was doing that shit on Twitter, the media, well, let's pretend we don't see it. We're ashamed of them. But like, you know, they have like kindness in their hearts. They're for a good cause. Yeah, they're imbeciles, but like, shh. There's going to be a reckoning. And that isn't the fact that no one watches these movies. The Oscars aren't popular. The ratings are collapsing. And so it's getting to a point where not watching the Oscars, not watching movies that are promoted by the Oscars are actually more likely to be entertaining than something that wins the motion picture. I don't trust them. Like they have an ideological agenda. They're not just a company, an organization that's like, okay, let's pick the best movie. And to be honest, you know, in the day of 2025, Year of the Lord, you already have trailers. You already know everything. You can go online and you can see clips from the movies. You can go on YouTube and there's clips and shit. You don't need someone to tell you if it's a good movie or not. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.